Good afternoon, good morning still. It's Central Time. Great to be back in Bay County. Merry Christmas to Bay County. Good to see you all here. We have a really great announcement today, and we have a number of people that are going to be here sharing this. We have the Executive Director of the Florida Department of Veterans Affairs, James Hammer Hartzell, is with us today, and he is still smiling from Navy beating Army this weekend. Someone who may not be smiling about that is our Superintendent of Bay County Schools, Mark McQueen, but we're happy that you have here, and whoa to you as an Army guy. We have Christina Etchberger, teacher, Callaway Elementary School, who's also a military spouse. Then we've got our representatives, Maney and Griffiths, and we're even honored to have the heavy hitter, Senator Jay Trumbull, is here with us. So thank you for coming, and thank you for what you guys are doing for the state of Florida. I know we're coming off an election, and there was a lot. I mean, I remember 2 years ago we got generated supermajorities in the Florida legislature. A lot of people said, well, that was just a high water. There's no way. And we actually added a seat in the Florida House, and so the majority, and then we had someone switch over. So the supermajority is the biggest it's ever been. Republicans have never had a supermajority this big in the Florida House. And in the Senate, we maintain the same supermajority. So it's good, and there's going to be a lot of different stuff coming down the pike, and we're looking forward to a lot of great work over the next few months, in particular with the legislative session coming back in. We're here today because Florida, we've always said that we are the best state in the country, not just for veterans, people that have served and are now in civilian life, but also the best state to be a military family, to have an active duty member, spouse, and kids. We want to make sure that, sometimes you come through here a year or two at a time and go somewhere else. I will say this, though. The people that end up transferring into Florida, I can tell, at least from a Navy perspective, once they get that Florida residency, they never give it up. Because they send you to you go to Coronado, and they'll tax you if you're a Coronado, but if you stay a Florida resident, you don't have to pay the tax. And so once they're here, they tend to keep it, and then a lot of people do choose to come and retire here. We were actually at the game for Army-Navy this weekend. I met with cadets from Florida and then midshipmen from Florida, and they both asked, what advice do you have? And I said, never give up your Florida residency. Take that with you, and they'll do it. But we really take pride in having great military communities, and I don't know that there's any better military community in the country than the communities we have in the Florida Panhandle. Whether it's here in Bay County, whether it's what we have in Okaloosa and Escambia, we have great military installations. We've got a lot of really significant components from our active duty forces for both the Navy and the Air Force. And we also have other great spots, Northeast Florida. We have MacDill and Tampa that has Central Command, Southern SOCOM, all this stuff. It's good stuff, and we're really proud of that. But we really have put our money where our mouth is and don't just say we're for military families, but actually have delivered. So this is just one part where we're going to talk about today, this Purple Star Schools of Distinction. But it's just worth pointing out some of the other things we've been able to do to support military members and veterans. We created the Heroes in the Classroom bonus program. So that gives a signing bonus to veterans who become classroom teachers. It's funny, the media talks about, there's the teacher shortages, and sometimes they'll say Florida. Florida has 1.1 vacancy for each school on average. The national average is over 2 vacancies per school on average. And part of the reason we're half the national average is because we've said, you don't need to go to a school of education. There's other experience that you can bring in that we want to credit. And so we've worked to get military veterans to come into the classroom, and we've had a lot of success with doing that. We also created a military veterans certification pathway so that veterans have easier access to jobs in our schools by allowing their military service to count towards the retirements of a temporary educator certificate. And when we did that, it's just kind of par for the course. Whatever we do, someone will gawk and start whining or whatever in the media especially and on the left. And somebody in one of these liberal school unions said, oh, you know, military service, what does that teach you to do anything? And they were downplaying it. And I'm just thinking to myself, you know, I would take somebody that served multiple tours in Afghanistan and that experience over somebody that went to the Harvard School of Education and learned intersectional Marxism. I would take that any day of the week and twice on Sunday over that. So this is valuable experience, and we're leveraging that in the state of Florida to help our young people. So yes, it's a good pathway, a good opportunity for people. And by the way, I think every year since I've been governor, we've raised teacher salaries in Florida. Legislature's helped us on that. We don't let them spend the money on anything else because you just give schools money. Unfortunately, a lot of school districts, they spend it on, we say it's got to go to teacher salaries, and so you've seen them go up as a result of what we've done. And that's great, but the reason why we want the veterans is less even for opportunity for them, although it is, but because we think it benefits the students. We think it's good to have good leadership in the classroom. So we are proud of that. We've also allowed our state agencies to substitute military experience for post-secondary education so veterans can use the experience to apply for civilian positions in state government. And we've also granted college credit for certain military experience so that we recognize the value of education and training received while in the military services. So I don't think there's any state that has done more than the state of Florida. And that's not even everything we've done. I mean, we've done more than that. No other state's done more. But one of the things that we understand, and just as somebody who was on active duty way back when, you show up when you're a military family and you don't tend to have a lot of stability because you go someplace for 2 years, then maybe you go somewhere else for a year and a half, then maybe somewhere else for 3 years, and you pop around. And that's the way our military is structured. That's what you're expected. But it's not easy when you have kids in school and kids have to switch schools. So we wanted to make sure that these transitions were positive, the experience was positive for our military families, and that's why we created the Purple Star Schools of Distinction program. And this is only given to schools that strive to offer extensive support for military families, and it's not something you can just get willy-nilly. To earn a Purple Star designation, schools are required to maintain the following: a military point of contact to serve as a liaison for military families, a school webpage for military students and families that includes specifically focused resources like academic planning, transition planning, and educational opportunities, a student-led transition program to assist military students coming into the school, professional development training for staff to identify and respond to needs specific to military families, 5% open enrollment seats for military students and families, and 3 elective opportunities to further support military families, such as participating in a service project to connect the school with the military community, hosting an annual military recognition event, or offering a JROTC program, amongst other things you can do. So this Purple Star School of Distinction program was established by the Florida legislature in the year 2021. All Florida public schools and private schools participating in state scholarship and school choice programs are eligible. And the first 2 years of the program, almost 200 schools completed all the requirements to earn this distinction. Well, today, I'm happy to report and announce that an additional 176 schools have now earned, across the state of Florida, have now earned the Purple Star Schools of Distinction designation. We are almost at 400 schools across the state of Florida, which is really a remarkable achievement, and especially when you considering there's a lot of places in Florida that it wouldn't even make sense because we don't have active duty military in those. So the places that have really significant military presence have stepped up, and I'm happy to say, and I know the superintendent will say, Bay County has 100% of the schools that have qualified to have this designation. And because of Bay County's leadership, we have decided to announce Purple Star School District designations. So to become a Purple Star School District, at least 75% of the schools in your district must be Purple Star schools. So today, I can announce the following 5 school districts are awarded the Florida Purple Star School District designation. Of course, Bay, Brevard, Citrus, Okaloosa, and Santa Rosa County. So thank you for what you've done. Thanks for stepping up to the plate and getting the job done. And so we'll continue to work very hard on all things related to military and to veterans. We're fortunate. I think we're the top destination for veterans nationwide. We don't have the most veterans, but because states like California have almost twice our population, but I believe we're number 2 right now in the country. Hammer could say number 2. So we're 3rd in population, but 2 for veteran population. And I think as veterans make the decision to transition into civilian life. In fact, I met a guy this weekend, very decorated, he's about ready to get out. And I was like, what are you going to do? I don't know. I was like, well, come to Florida. He's like, well, I don't know if I can get a job. I'm like, you're going to get a job. Trust me. I was like, just let me know. I know all these people, right? We'll get that done very easily, and we'll make it happen. So I think that we have, and look, the policies are fine. It's important. Our programs are important. They've been good. But I think it's also just you've got a lot of support for veterans organically in communities across Florida, particularly in Northwest Florida. So there's a lot of businesses that are really looking to hire good vets and all this other stuff. So we've got a lot of very positive energy going with this. I don't think there's any better place you would want to be as a veteran, particularly people that retire from the service, to be able to come here and take that next chapter in your life. So thanks for everyone for being involved. This is a really historic achievement. To have an additional 176 schools, we're closing in on 400. I don't know realistically how many that we could actually do, because as I said, it's nothing against some of the school districts. They just they may not have much of an active duty component in there, and so the demand signal may not be there. But for those areas that have it, they've really stepped up, including right here in Bay County. Okay, we're going to hear from some guests that we have today, and we'll start with our Department of Veterans Affairs Executive Director, the Marine himself, Hammer Hartzell.
Semper Fidelis, sir. Well, the governor is right. We are number 2 now. Guess which state we passed to be the 2nd most populated veteran state? California. Those of us who live in Florida know why. It's leadership. It's what we stand for in Florida as a free state. It's why veterans are moving here with their families. Employment, school choice, back the blue, secure borders. Veterans know what secure borders need, all right? So that's why, sir, we are number 2, and I'm proud to honor that. And I'm honored to join the governor here today in an area of our great free state of Florida that is well known for its patriotism, its resilience, when you think about the hurricane, as well as your support for military and their families and our veterans, our 1.4 million veterans. So it's my honor to be here today. And I want to thank you to our governor for his strong and nationally respected leadership of our governor, because Florida continues to be the state of choice for veterans. We have the largest in-migration of veterans and have been for a number of years. And they continue to come, which just means I'm busier. Florida Department of Veterans Affairs, I'm busier making sure we find them and we connect them to the benefits they earn and deserve, especially their families. As a Navy veteran himself, our governor personally understands and he appreciates the needs of those who are both currently serving in our military, but also our 1.4 million veterans, like us, who have served in defense of our nation. And since taking office, the governor has achieved his desired end state for the military members, his desired goal of making Florida a nationally recognized leader for Veterans Affairs in honoring and supporting our heroes of America and their families. And that's what we're doing here today. The governor is Semper Fidelis for our military families. And for you non-Navy and Marine Corps people, that's always faithful. He has been and is, with First Lady Case, always faithful for our military. And that's why he's here this morning. And we're blessed to have him as a governor. Okay? I was the president of our National Association of State Departments of Veteran Affairs, me plus 49, Marine math, there was 50. And they always, how do you get that done, Hammer, General? How do you get that done in Florida? I said, 1, you need a leader who understands veterans. 2, you need to be fiscally solvent and have money. and we're blessed in Florida to be that way. Most states aren't. For the local community here in Callaway, I truly appreciate your awesome and loving support that you give our Chester Sims State Veteran Nursing Home, which directionally challenged from Marines is 2 miles that way. It's just 2 miles from here. We have 120 veterans in that home. And I challenge and ask Callaway School, other schools, adopt them as your nursing home, especially during these holidays. Go and visit that old veteran who's sitting in a wheelchair staring out a window. It breaks my heart when I see that. But my staff is wonderful. We take care of them. But some of them don't have families. Be their family. It's part of your service organizations you can get. You got to have 3. Choose that for one. I really appreciate if you do that. I also want to thank Senator Trumbull, Reps. Maney and Griffiths for your direct support of the Governor and First Lady to make it easier for military spouses to find meaningful employment, as the Governor said, when they move to Florida. And one way our legislature is doing this is by reducing the hassle and the cost of having to get relicensed for a profession you're already currently doing in another state, you're already licensed for, and in Florida you come here, you won't have to pay again to get it done over again. You're already licensed, you're serving. Why would we make you do it again? That's something that our legislature has done, and I appreciate that. Our military children, I raised 3 boys when I was in the military. They deserve and they need special attention. And that's part of what this school program is doing, this Purple Star school program. Because all military families know the challenges that dependent children face when our nation requires and orders them to move from one community to another, time and time again. And this Purple Star School program directly helps address many of those challenges. So it's good for the kids, it's good for the family, which is good for Florida, which is great for America. With today's announcement, as the Governor said, nearly 400 schools and 5 districts now have earned the highly coveted Purple Star School program designation, which helps our military-aged school children enjoy a smoother transition into their new school environment when their family forces them to move to a new school. Governor, thank you again for your leadership and in this Purple Star School program and all the other military and veteran-supported programs that our state does to make our free state the most veteran sought after and the most veteran-friendly state in the nation. Thank you, Governor.
Okay, Mark McQueen, Superintendent.
What a great day in Bay, Governor DeSantis. I'll never forget the first day I met you, is when you were inaugurated and you came down to Mexico Beach and came to Panama City right after the hurricane, and you've never left this community. And I want to thank you, sir, for your commitment to Bay County. It's been extraordinary, and to the state. Thank you. Hammer, an old warrior, he and I served together a little bit. And then, of course, a great battle buddy of mine is Representative Pat Maney. And he and I deployed to Bosnia together, an extraordinary leader himself, and was the author for the legislation that created the Purple Star Schools of Distinction. So thank you for your vision and your leadership. And, of course, Senator Trumbull, Representative Griffiths, thank you so much for your leadership and continuing. The best education system in the state of Florida, quite honestly. We're shooting to be #1. And we do it in part to support the men and women in uniform and their families. I've got great battle buddies in Colonel Bergholt and Commander Mosey from 325th and NSA Panama City. And your team of teams, the families that you bring to our community, we're here to support you and your teammates. And so thank you for the honor of allowing us to do that. You know, it's extraordinary for me personally to share a little story. I was an Army brat. I went to 10 different schools in 12 years. I know the nomadic life that our active duty military folks deal with, and it's absolutely a challenge. But to have the Purple Star School of Distinction and to have all of the schools in Bay County serving our military community gives us great pride. I have to tell you, our objective is to have a seamless transition from pre-K all the way to the doctorate program. So to have Haney Technical College, where is Director Reese right there, to having the first state college in the state of Florida, Gulf Coast State College, to be a Purple Star School of Distinction, President McDonald, and to have having Florida State University and Dean Hanna and Dr. Irvin Clark supporting what we're doing here to have that integration of education. We do this as a team of teams. It is a community that has come together to make this day happen. A whole community, the Bay County Chamber, the Military Affairs Committee, Bay Defense Alliance, Triumph Gulf Coast, just to name a few. But really, it's the principals that provide the leadership and support. And I would ask, if you're a principal, would you please stand? Please stand. Thank you. These are the leaders that create the culture and the environment to support the reason we exist, and it's because of those little ones right there in the back row. That's why we're here, to help give them a pathway to a future. Special thanks to my right arm that's helped to promote this entire program, and that is Sharon Mahalik and Aaron Rich, who have helped to create the framework for us to be able to have the ability to reach out to all of our men and women and their families in uniform across the globe. So when they get assignment orders here, they're already able to start a successful transition. To Aaron and Mallory, thank you for being the liaisons with our military families and what you do to put the A back in Bay. And together, we're better, and we're honored to be one of the first districts in the state of Florida to be a Purple Star School District of Distinction. Thank you, Governor.
Okay, Christina, come on up.
Good morning. My name is Christina Etchberger, and I'm a proud Army spouse, mother of 2 wonderful boys, a nonprofit leader at It's Military Life, and an ELL teacher here at Callaway Elementary. Thank you for giving me the opportunity today to speak on behalf of military families in Bay County about how Purple Star schools have positively impacted the lives of our military children and teens. For our family, military life began at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, then South Korea, and now my husband Henry's hometown in Florida. As any military spouse knows, the first thing you do when you get orders to PCS or move to another duty station is research the local schools. Thankfully, my husband, who is a current commanding officer in the Army, was a graduate of Bay School District. While I felt confident with the schools, I didn't know how military families were supported. From the moment I visited the district website, a familiar name and face greeted us, Superintendent Mark McQueen. To my husband, a former Bay District scholar, Mr. McQueen will forever be remembered as that teacher who made an impact at Sunday school. Now, we're not only comforted with familiarity, but leadership that has walked the walk as a retired Major General of the Army and a passionate advocate for our schools. Resources were also right on the homepage for military families, which was so relieving for us to see, especially as we were about to send our oldest to kindergarten. My son, from day one, received such great support from his kindergarten teacher, Ms. Turner, and Ms. Dawn. The transition from kindergarten to first grade went so smoothly because of the military family counselor, Ms. Christine, who would visit with him and other military scholars during lunchtime. It gave him the opportunity to meet other military children and talk about the ups and downs of military life. Now, both my children have the opportunity to be a scholar here in the district that celebrates their journey as military children by emphasizing the importance of Purple Star schools. We are incredibly grateful now to Mrs. Smith and Ms. Helms, who work so well with my boys and listen and understand when life changes happen and how to support them through it in the classroom setting. Purple Star schools support military-connected children and teens adjust to their ever-changing lives by giving them stability and support at school. This is done by providing activities, events, and ongoing support from administrators, teachers, counselors, social workers, and the military liaisons, as well as the community as a whole. Now at Callaway Elementary, our military scholars participate in many different events and activities, such as our weekly check-ins with our military family life counselor, Ms. Christine, Purple Up Day during the month of the military child, access to children's literature and about military life for children and teens written by military community members, the Military Scholar Recognition Award presented by the mayor, breakfast and lunch events for military scholars year-round, and with our house system, opportunities for military scholars to connect with other scholars across grade levels. Callaway has also made it a priority to foster connections with military personnel by partnering with the Tyndall Air Force Base as mentors for our scholars, including a recent visit about Santa tracking through NORAD, to name a few. And veteran support within our community and beyond. with Guys with Ties and Girls with Pearls leadership team providing gifts for Sims Veterans Home residents, writing and mailing out letters through Veteran Pen Pal Project to veterans at all stages of life, from deployed to those in end-of-life care. The beautiful thing about us coming together today is the common ground we stand on, our faith in our military and our teachers. Take a moment to reflect on that favorite teacher of yours. Whether you are the Governor of Florida, a soldier of the United States, or a community member here at Callaway, teachers and our schools help mold us into the people we are today. Our military children and teens need us to understand we are here for them, so they too can grow and thrive alongside their fellow scholars at Bay School District and wherever else the military may take them. Lastly, thank you to my family and friends for standing by as I hold down the fort while my husband Henry serves our country. It takes a village, and I'm greatly blessed to have such a supportive family and friends and the Purple Star School community. Thank you.
All right, well, we're really proud of everyone that's been involved in this program. Thanks to Bay County for really help lead the way. Thanks to all the schools that have stepped up on behalf of the military families, and you proof's in the pudding. I mean, when you hear testimony like that, you know why the legislature enacted this and why it's been something that we've been so supportive of. So good job. We continue to produce results, and we're going to continue to do that going forward on this and a variety of other issues. Okay, do we have any questions back there?
Governor, I'm from Jacksonville. It's one of the great military communities here in the state of Florida, and I'm working in one now. So can you tell me why it was so important for you guys to make this announcement right here in Bay County?
Well, I've just as a guy that has been around a little bit around the country and been in different military communities, and we have a lot of good ones across the country. And I was somebody that had been stationed in Mayport in Northeast Florida, and so that's a really good one too. But I'll tell you, up here in Northwest Florida, this is really part and parcel of the community. It's just like clockwork where the military fits. It's almost unthinkable to think of Northwest Florida without our military community. It just wouldn't be the same. And so from that perspective, I think the support in the community from Escambia all the way over here to Bay is really noticeable. And it is not the norm, even in areas that are generally supportive. I think the community here goes above and beyond. This is a great place to be stationed as on active duty, and I know from running into so many people over the years, it's a heck of a good place to retire to once you leave the military service. Okay, thanks everybody. God bless. We'll see you soon.